Episode 055.
My name is James Hastie. I'm a former entrepreneur in the financial services sector. I worked for many years in management consulting, banking, and then started my own business, which was sold about 4 years ago now. Sailing for me has been something I've done all my life. We set off to sail from the south coast of England to Sydney. And on one occasion, we observed the International Space Station flying across the sky when we were well south in the Atlantic Ocean. And we were roughly midway between the continent of Africa and the continent of South America. And we realized that the closest human beings to us at that point in time were actually in the International Space Station.
Welcome to Innovator Diaries, a show where influencers and leaders from all walks of life share their story and experiences. You learn the strategies and action points that have helped them find success and get to where they are today. You'll hear their stories and valuable advice to help you on your own path. These messages may also help somebody you know, so please share. Jamie, I am really interested to talk to you today because I think what you've achieved in life is perhaps the dream of many people, which is to be able to reach financial stability early and then be able to do what you really like to do, like a hobby, and I think you're doing that now, which is you had your business, you grew it, you were able to sell it, and now you're doing sailing around the world, which is great, So I just want to know and learn some of the strategies you did and had in order to succeed in all of these stages of your life. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
A pleasure, Ricardo.
So perhaps to start, if you can tell me a little bit about your childhood and who was the most influential person in that stage of your life.
I grew up in a very conservative, quite traditional British family in what one might, and I'm going to resort here to a very British construct, that of the class system, which sadly is still with us. But I grew up in firmly a sort of an upper middle class, quite privileged family. I went to private school from a very young age, and within that to boarding school. So I spent most of my formative years, between 8 and 18, actually away from my family at a boarding school, at 2 boarding schools in fact. What that meant was that in fact the traditional influence of my parents in my life has really been quite limited. Whilst it is perhaps a severe thing to say, I have and I enjoy and I think I benefit from a high degree of independence and in a way some distance from my family. Mm-hmm. We have never been as close as many traditional families, and possibly to draw a comparison with Latino or Spanish families, our family is a little more dispersed.
And do you think you got used to it? Like, was it when they told you have to go to boarding school, was it hard for you? Do you remember that?
I do, but equally I knew no different. So when I was bundled off to a boarding school at the age of 8, it didn't occur to me that there would be an alternative, that I would be happier or better or more comfortable anywhere else. So I think what this comes down to is a degree of resilience and what in English we call the stiff upper lip. That is the ability to deal with circumstances that may not be as comfortable, as normal, as one might like. But as an 8-year-old, I dealt with it and got on with life, made great friends, studied, enjoyed the extraordinarily rich curriculum of a boarding school where there's always stuff going on.
And I suppose that as immigrants here in Australia, we feel that our friends sometimes become our family. Do you feel that your school friends from that early age are still kind of your family?
It's an interesting one. Actually, no, simply because of lack of contact. But your theme about friends becoming family, I absolutely support. I think of my close friends here in Australia.
Want to listen to the entire interview? Simply go to innovatordiaries.com/episode number. Or you can find this episode and hundreds of other great stories on Google Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast player is. Please check me out on LinkedIn. Follow or connect with me as I'm very proactive on that social network. And finally, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll get all the new stories as soon as they're released. See you next time.